Recently I previewed my new Dr. Z Z-Rack Jr. head in a video, but now I want to do a full review of it. Is this a country amp because Brad Paisley was involved in its creation? Well, I guess it can be, but certainly not exclusively. This is one side of the amp and probably what you most expect of it. But let's have a look at the other side of the amp, because it can just as easily rock out with humbuckers if you needed to. If you've seen some of my earlier videos, you probably know I had a Dr. Z Mass 18 Mark II with reverb for as long as I've had this channel. I bought the Mass for studio and session work because I needed something different, but back then it was already a choice between the Mass and the Z-Rack Jr. Eventually I went with the Mass because it was advertised as the more versatile option, and I was happy with the Mass for a long time. It was good with single coils, had nice cleans and was a very good pedal platform. I've used the amp to record a lot of music outside of my own band for the 2 years I've owned it. It was the counterweight to my Marshall Plexis and simply a great amp. And on my time here on YouTube so far, it was probably the amp you heard half of the time. But I hadn't been clicking with the amp anymore for a while now, because for what I like to do most of the time, it didn't always work. And I know very well what I like and what I want out of an amp in terms of sound, feel and functionality. This simply was no longer the right amp for me. First I thought about selling the Mass, but that would mean I would only have Marshall Plexis. And no matter how much I love Marshall Plexis, they don't do it all for me. The thing that I like most besides Plexi-based amps are Vox-based amps, so I guess I got an affection for that British classic rock tone. I thought about a Bad Cat, a Matchless or an actual Vox, but I wanted to stick with Dr. Z because there is something I simply like about their amps. And that brought me back to my initial dilemma between a Mass 18 and a Z-Rack Jr. After some consideration, I thought about finding someone willing to trade a Z-Rec Junior for my Mas 18. And eventually, the store where I got the Mas 18 was willing to do this trade with me. I had played a Z-Rec Junior in their store before I bought the Mas 18, but it was still a gamble. The gamble paid off for me though, because the Z-Rec Junior has a lot more of that vintage British character. It's in the mids, the gain structure and the dynamic range. When I got it, I was happy with my decision right away. I also like the fact that the amp is no nonsense. It has 5 knobs and one specific sound. With the Mas 18, I kept tweaking to find the sound and the feel I wanted without ever really getting there. And with the Z-Rec Junior, I managed to get there really quickly and easy. The Mas deserves its reputation as a Swiss Army knife amp. It's versatile, takes pedals like no other and can cover a lot of ground. But to me it was also a bit stiff feeling, modern sounding with too much bass and a bit of harshness sometimes. And I liked it better with an overdrive pedal as opposed to the gain from the actual amp itself. The Z-Rec Junior has a more distinctive character that feels and sounds more vintage. And while it doesn't take pedals as well as the Mas 18, it still takes pedals perfectly. But more important than that, I don't even feel the need to use a lot of pedals with this amp. It simply is great and so much fun to play. So even though I have lost one Dr. Z amp, I am happy to have gained another, especially one that works so much better for me. But which one is the right one for you depends on what you are looking for. In my opinion, they are both great. If you have any questions or comments about these Dr. Z amps, let me know in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I'll see you next time.